The city sleeps, but it is never truly still. Long before the first commuters stir, another world awakens. It unfolds in the quiet spaces between the monuments of commerce and culture. The first light of dawn spills over the steel canyons of Manhattan, Los Angeles, and Chicago. It catches the glass of 1,000 empty office windows. It paints the sky in soft pastels, a gentle promise of the day to come. Down below, in the deep shadows cast by these silent giants, life begins not with the chime of an alarm clock, but with the rustle of a sleeping bag or the soft groan of a body rising from cold concrete. This is the city within the city, a landscape as vast and complex as any on Earth. Here, the environment is one of hard surfaces and borrowed warmth. A steam grate on a winter morning becomes a precious geothermal spring. The overhang of a bank provides a temporary cave, a shield against the unpredictable elements. The sounds are a symphony of the overlooked. The distant hum of the freeway is a constant rhythmic pulse. The metallic clang of a dropped grate echoes through an empty plaza. The soft coo of pigeons, the city's most resilient inhabitants, provides a gentle counterpoint. In these moments, before the metropolis roars to life, there is a profound and fragile peace. It is a world hidden in plain sight, occupied by those who have lost their place but not their presence. The inhabitants of this world are as varied as the city itself. They are the elderly, their faces etched with the stories of a lifetime, now navigating a reality they never foresaw. They are young people, their dreams deferred, their potential held captive by circumstances beyond their control. They are families, huddled together for warmth and comfort, trying to carve out a sliver of normalcy in a world that feels anything but. Each person is a universe of experience, a history that led them to this precise spot on this particular morning. They are not a monolith, but a collection of individual stories, each one a testament to the quiet resilience of the human spirit. As the sun climbs higher, the light changes. It becomes harsher, more revealing. The soft shadows retreat, and the stark reality of the street is laid bare. The city begins to wake in earnest. The rumble of the first subway train vibrates through the ground. The scent of street vendors preparing for the morning rush drifts on the air. For the residents of the unseen city, this is a signal. It is time to pack up, to erase their temporary footprint, to melt back into the anonymity of the crowd. Their day is not one of destination but of constant movement. It is a search for safety, for a moment of rest, for a small measure of dignity in the heart of America's grandest landscapes. Beyond the gleaming downtown cores, the city's geography shifts. It sprawls outwards, towards forgotten riverbanks and the untamed fringes of industrial parks. Here, where the manicured lawns of suburbia give way to wilder, less tended spaces, new habitats emerge. Tents cluster like strange, colorful flora beneath the concrete pillars of a highway overpass. These communities form their own ecosystems, governed by unofficial rules and a shared understanding of survival. The roar of traffic overhead is a constant, artificial storm, a backdrop to the quiet dramas playing out below. Life here is lived at the very edge of the urban map, in the spaces that society has overlooked. The natural world reasserts itself in these liminal zones. Weeds push through cracks in abandoned asphalt. A hawk might circle high above, indifferent to the human struggles below. The slow, patient rhythm of nature provides a stark contrast to the frantic pace of the city just a stone's throw away. A sunset over a polluted canal can be breathtakingly beautiful. The moon can cast a serene glow over a field of makeshift shelters. It is here that one can witness the powerful drive for life to adapt and endure, both in the resilient plants that take root and in the people who build their homes from what the city has discarded. This is a world of found objects, of ingenuity born from necessity. A discarded shopping cart becomes a mobile pantry and closet. A torn billboard tarp is transformed into a waterproof roof. Communities form around shared resources, a fire for cooking, a lookout for safety, a shared story to pass the time. There is a social structure, a network of support that is often invisible to the outside world. People look out for one another, sharing food, information, and a sense of belonging that has been denied to them elsewhere. It is a fragile, but deeply human, society, clinging to existence on the periphery. Yet, this existence is precarious. It is a life lived in constant suspense, under the threat of sudden upheaval. A notice of a sweep can appear overnight, a clinical term for the dismantling of a community. The arrival of bulldozers and city crews means the loss of not just a tent, but a home. It means the scattering of a fragile support network, the loss of personal belongings, and the trauma of being forcibly displaced once again. For the residents, it is a recurring storm that washes away everything they have struggled to build, forcing them to start over, to find another forgotten corner on the edge of the map. Consider the story of a man named Marcus. He is not a statistic, but a living, breathing part of the city's engine. Each morning, he rises from a shelter bed or the back seat of his aging car. He puts on a clean, pressed uniform that he keeps carefully folded in a duffel bag. He joins the morning commute, indistinguishable from the millions around him. He works a full-time job at a logistics warehouse on the outskirts of the city, a place of constant motion, of beeping forklifts and the rhythmic thud of boxes on conveyor belts. He is a reliable employee, valued for his hard work and his quiet determination. He is, by all measures, a productive member of society. When his shift ends, his journey diverges from his colleagues. While they head home to families, to warm meals, to the comfort of their own beds, Marcus begins a different calculation. He weighs his options for the night. Can he afford a motel room for a few hours of deep sleep? Is there a safe, well-lit parking lot where he can rest without being disturbed? He is one of the working homeless, a growing population hidden within the fabric of our economy. For Marcus, and for millions like him, a steady paycheck is no longer a guarantee of a roof over one's head. The gap between what he earns and what it costs to simply exist has become an unbridgeable chasm. The irony is staggering. The very cities that boast of economic booms and boundless opportunity are the same places where this crisis is most acute. Between 40 and 60% of the unhoused population in some areas hold down a job, sometimes more than one. They are the people who stock our grocery shelves, clean our offices, and serve our coffee. They are essential to the functioning of the urban machine, yet they are excluded from its most basic promise, a safe place to call home. Their lives are a constant, exhausting tightrope walk, balancing the demands of work with the relentless stress of housing instability. The psychological toll is immense. It is the quiet shame of not being able to provide. It is the constant fear of losing one's job if an employer discovers one's living situation. It is the physical exhaustion that comes from never having a truly restorative night's sleep. Marcus's story is not an anomaly. It is a suspenseful, slow-motion unfolding of a national crisis. It is the story of how the fundamental contract of work and reward has been broken. It is a quiet testament to a system where the floor has fallen away, leaving countless hard-working people in a freefall. The crisis we see today did not appear overnight. It is the result of a slow, seismic shift that has been reshaping the American landscape for decades. Imagine the foundation of a house, slowly eroding over time. For generations, that foundation was an adequate supply of modest, affordable housing. But piece by piece, that foundation has been chipped away. The most crucial loss has been the disappearance of affordable rental units. In cities across the nation, rising demand and a shortage of supply have sent rents skyrocketing, pushing them far beyond the reach of low-wage workers, retirees on fixed incomes, and families just starting out. This erosion was accelerated by specific events. Following the end of pandemic-era protections, a dam that had been holding back a flood of evictions finally broke. The numbers tell a stark story. The population of people experiencing homelessness surged dramatically, reaching a record high. On any given night, more than 700,000 people in the world's wealthiest nation find themselves without a home. This is not simply a matter of poverty, it is a crisis of housing. The national shortage of affordable homes is numbered in the millions, a deficit so vast that it has fundamentally altered the landscape of opportunity for a huge segment of the population. This is a story of simple math. When the cost of a one-bedroom apartment exceeds the entire monthly income of a minimum wage worker, the system is no longer functional. People are forced into impossible choices: pay the rent or buy groceries, cover the electric bill or afford necessary medicine. For many, one unexpected car repair, one medical emergency, or one missed paycheck is all it takes to tip the balance. They are not falling from a great height, they are standing on a floor that has simply vanished beneath their feet. The suspense is not in whether they will fall, but when. The loss of this housing floor has left a void. It has created a bottleneck where people who lose their homes find there is nowhere else to go. Shelters are overwhelmed, waiting lists for subsidized housing are years long, and the open market is an unforgiving place. The result is what we see on our streets, a visible manifestation of a systemic failure. It is the story of a promise broken. The promise that if you work hard and play by the rules, you will be able to afford a simple, decent place to live. For a growing number of Americans, that promise now rings hollow. In the sprawling, humid landscape of Houston, a different story is being written. While many of America's great cities have seen their homeless populations swell, Houston has achieved something remarkable. It has charted a different path, proving that this crisis is not an intractable force of nature, but a problem that can be managed and reduced with the right approach. Over the past decade, this vast metropolis has cut its overall homeless population by more than 60%. It stands as a beacon, an example of what is possible when a city decides to confront the problem with coordination, pragmatism, and a shared sense of purpose. The secret to Houston's success is not a single, magic solution. It is a carefully coordinated system known as the Way Home. This initiative brings together over 100 different nonprofit organizations and government agencies, aligning them all toward a common goal. Instead of competing for resources or working at cross purposes, they operate as a single, cohesive unit. When a person experiences homelessness, they don't have to navigate a confusing maze of different agencies. They enter one coordinated system that assesses their needs and works quickly to move them into permanent housing with the support they need to stay there. Crucially, Houston has also addressed the supply side of the equation. It has some of the most permissive construction regulations among major U.S. cities. This makes it easier and cheaper to build new housing of all types. The result is a more elastic and affordable housing market. While other cities see a handful of apartments available for under $1,000 a month, Houston has hundreds. This availability of affordable stock is the critical missing piece in many other urban areas. It provides a real destination for people moving out of homelessness, a tangible goal that is within reach. Houston's model is a powerful counter-narrative. It shows that compassion and efficiency are not mutually exclusive. By focusing on a housing-first approach, they prioritize the most fundamental need: a stable place to live. From that foundation of stability, other issues like unemployment, mental health, and addiction can be addressed more effectively. The city has demonstrated that with political will, intelligent system design, and a focus on building more homes, it is possible to turn the tide. It is a story of hope, a roadmap showing other cities the way home. Across the country, a great debate is unfolding, a pendulum swinging between two competing philosophies on how to address the visible signs of homelessness. On one side, there is a growing movement toward what is often called an enforcement model. Frustrated by the proliferation of street encampments and a perceived decline in public order, some cities are turning to the statute books. They are enacting and enforcing laws against public camping, panhandling, and sleeping in public spaces. The goal is to restore a sense of order to public parks, sidewalks, and transit systems. This approach often involves sweeps of tent cities, where residents are ordered to leave and their belongings are cleared away. It is a visually dramatic and often contentious process. Proponents argue that such measures are necessary to ensure that public spaces are safe and accessible to everyone. They contend that allowing encampments to fester leads to public health hazards and crime, and that a more assertive stance is a form of tough love intended to push people toward accepting services. A recent Supreme Court decision has given cities more legal latitude to enforce these ordinances, signaling a significant shift in the legal landscape. On the other side of the pendulum are those who argue that this approach criminalizes poverty itself. They ask a simple, powerful question: if a person has nowhere else to go, where are they supposed to sleep? Critics of the enforcement model argue that it is not a solution, but a costly and ineffective cycle of displacement. It shuffles people from one block to another, without addressing the root cause of their homelessness, which is the lack of a home. It can also create deep mistrust, making it even harder for outreach workers to connect with people and offer them a path to stable housing. This tension represents a fundamental crossroads for American cities. Do they manage the symptoms of the crisis, or do they attack the disease? Some programs like the homeless outreach teams in Wichita, Kansas, try to find a middle ground. They pair law enforcement with social workers to engage with unsheltered individuals, diverting them from the criminal justice system and toward services. The debate is not just about policy, it is about the character of our cities. It is a profound question of how we balance the shared need for public order with the moral imperative of compassion for our most vulnerable neighbors. To understand the landscape of homelessness today, we must listen for the echoes of the past. The phenomenon of mass homelessness as we now know it is not an age-old problem. It emerged with startling speed in the late 1970s and early 1980s. The result of two powerful currents that converged at the same time. The first was the mass deinstitutionalization of patients from state-run mental health facilities, driven by a combination of good intentions, new medications, and a desire to cut costs. The nation emptied its asylums. The resident population plummeted from over 500,000 in the mid-1950s to just over 100,000 by 1980. The promise was that these individuals would be cared for in community-based treatment centers, but that promise was largely unfulfilled. The funding never fully materialized, and a robust network of community care never took root. Thousands of vulnerable people, many struggling with severe mental illness, were left to fend for themselves. They were released into a world that was unprepared to receive them, without the support structures they needed to survive. They became the first visible wave of the new homeless, wandering the streets of cities that had no answers for them. At the exact same time, a second, equally devastating change was taking place in the urban housing market. For decades, the bottom rung of the housing ladder had been the single-room occupancy hotel, or SRO. These were simple, modest dwellings. A single room, often with a shared bathroom down the hall, that provided affordable shelter for single, low-wage workers, pensioners, and others on the margins. They were a critical and often overlooked part of the urban ecosystem. But in the name of urban renewal, cities began to demolish them at a breathtaking rate. New York City, for example, lost 60% of its SRO stock in just 6 years. This collision of policies was catastrophic. Just as thousands of vulnerable people were being released onto the streets, the very housing that might have sheltered them was being torn down to make way for office towers and luxury apartments. This history is crucial. It reminds us that homelessness is not the result of personal failings alone, but of deliberate policy choices. The crisis was created, and just as past decisions led us here, new decisions can lead us out. The echoes of the past are not a sentence, but a lesson, a guide for how we might build a more humane and stable future. In the face of this daunting challenge, new architectures of hope are rising. They are not always made of brick and mortar, but of innovative ideas, data-driven strategies, and a renewed commitment to human dignity. These solutions recognize that an effective response requires more than just a single type of shelter. It requires a whole continuum of housing options. In Everett, Washington, the city is rewriting its zoning codes, a seemingly mundane act with profound implications. Their goal is to clear the way for the development of thousands of new housing units by 2035, tackling the crisis at its source, the lack of supply. Another powerful tool is prevention. It is far more compassionate and cost-effective to stop someone from losing their home than it is to help them after they have fallen into homelessness. In places like Boulder, Colorado, programs are focused on this critical upstream intervention. They provide emergency financial assistance, legal aid to fight wrongful evictions, and mediation services to resolve disputes between tenants and landlords. These programs act as a vital safety net, catching people at the moment of crisis and giving them the support they need to regain their footing before they lose their home entirely. Data has also become an essential building material. Initiatives like Built for Zero are transforming the way communities respond to the crisis. Instead of relying on annual counts, these communities use real-time, by-name data to track every single person experiencing homelessness. This allows them to understand the problem with unprecedented clarity and deploy their resources with surgical precision. In Bergen County, New Jersey, this data-driven approach allowed them to achieve functional zero for veteran homelessness, meaning they have built a system that ensures homelessness is rare, brief, and non-recurring. There is also a debate about the nature of support. Some successful smaller-scale programs require sobriety and participation in job training as a condition of housing. Others champion the permanent supportive housing model, which places individuals directly into subsidized apartments with wraparound services. The most effective systems recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. They build a diverse ecosystem of options, from emergency shelters to high-barrier programs to permanent supportive housing, creating multiple pathways for people to find not just a roof, but a home and a future. The story of homelessness in America's great cities is one of profound loss, of systemic failure, and of immense human suffering. But it does not have to end there. Amidst the shadows, there are glimmers of a new morning light. This light is found in the quiet determination of a Houston outreach worker, connecting a veteran to a new apartment. It is in the relief on the face of a family in Boulder who, with the help of a mediator, will get to stay in their home. It is in the sense of purpose shared by a team in Bergen County as they move one person closer to a permanent home, updating their list in real time. These successes are not isolated miracles. They are the result of a fundamental shift in perspective. They come from treating homelessness not as a moral failing, but as a systems problem that can be solved. They prove that with coordination, data, political will, and a sufficient supply of affordable housing, we can build a future where no one is left to sleep on the streets. These models provide a blueprint, a path forward that moves beyond the tired debates of the past and toward tangible, life-changing solutions. They show that progress is possible, one person, one family, one community at a time. The challenge remains immense. The economic forces driving this crisis are powerful, and the scale of the problem is vast. But hope is a resilient and essential force. It is found in the dignity of a man like Marcus who continues to work and strive against impossible odds. It is found in the communities that form in the most desolate of places, a testament to the human need for connection. And it is found in the growing consensus that we can and must do better. The fate of our cities is inextricably linked to the fate of our most vulnerable residents. Ultimately, the measure of a great city is not the height of its skyscrapers or the breadth of its avenues. It is how it treats its people. A truly great city is one that provides a place for everyone, that builds a floor of opportunity and safety that is strong enough for all to stand on. The morning light reveals the work that needs to be done. It illuminates the path forged by cities that are succeeding. It is a quiet invitation to begin the work of rebuilding, of creating a nation where the promise of home is not a distant dream, but a reality for all.